Yo. This is your boy Sam at More Life One. I'm joined by my guy Matthew at Star Conscience. This is the voice of college football, Florida State edition, of course. What's going on, Matthew, man? How was your Father's Day?
Well, I'm not a father, so
Oh,
I didn't
damn.
get I didn't get any perks or anything,
Congratulations.
right? Yeah, right. Because nobody care about Father's Day anyway. But for
Mhm.
me, my father passed away in 2012, so
Okay.
so like Father's Day, it depend on the year. Like one year could be kind of all right. This year was kind of more on the kind of bummy side because I was really thinking about him. So,
Yeah.
but I made sure I hit up all my fathers that I knew and told them how much I, salute them. And because I'm somebody that aspires to be one. So I definitely celebrated my dad. He raised
Right.
me right. He was the best dad in the world. So, it was a little iffy this year, but I got through it. How about you, man? Did you get some gifts, get some meals or something?
The wife went and got me some Crocs. She got me some Crocs because my son said I needed new Crocs. Because he had got
Okay.
some new Crocs, so he was like, "You need some new Crocs." So he got me some Crocs. He talked the wife into give me some Crocs because he always tell me he ain't got no job. So he ain't number 5. He ain't number 6 years old. He's hilarious. But so I
Yeah.
got that, and I got a peace and quiet day. Sunday was like a peace and quiet day for me. Like nobody messed with me on Sunday, so I take it. I
Okay.
take what I can get when I can get it. You know what I'm
I
saying?
got you. I got you. I got you.
Uh,
I got you.
how you feeling about these
Yes, sir.
NBA finals, man? I mean, I know the game's on right now as we sit here talking, man. How you feeling about it?
Mhm. Man, I am. You know, so many people were dogging the finals when the matchup was made.
Mm-hmm.
Because people have that, small market
Yeah,
fear and stuff like that. But I said, look, man,
just came
have
out of
y'all
nowhere.
been, yeah, like have y'all been watching basketball though? Like,
Right,
have y'all been watching these playoffs and like how good these two teams are playing? Like, these have been the two best teams.
right.
So if you want to see the two best team matchup, yeah, these might not have been the quote two best teams during the regular season. I mean, OKC was one of them,
Right.
but Indiana proved that hey, like when it came down to it, they were the best team in the East.
Yeah.
The Thunder came out the West, and look, we're deadlocked at 2 in a pivotal Game 5 in a series that has a chance to go 7. Like I would
Yeah.
love to see it go 7 games.
Bro, these teams are like stressing each other out mentally and physically every game.
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
really kind of amazing to be honest with you. So hopefully we get
Yeah.
another good game today. I'm excited about the idea that we get another good game. Look like it's starting off pretty good. Both teams
Hmm.
on a nice little flow right now. So I'm
Yes, sir.
excited about that. Man, I gotta tell you, we was in spaces today on Twitter, man. It was hilarious, man. You should have been in there. I have to see you invite
Talking
next
about
time.
the finals.
No, we was in there talking about Florida State.
Oh, you in the Florida State? You was in Florida State space?
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm the
Okay.
person that did the fire Mike Norvell space a while back, like when it went like nuclear.
Oh, did you? Nah, I didn't. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah. I think I heard about it, but I don't. I didn't hear who did it. Oh, okay. Wow.
yeah, I did the fire Mike Norvell space. So I was the genesis of that
I
whole
know.
like,
I know that
hey,
was a time.
yeah, that shit was hilarious. But I was the genesis of that whole thing. So I haven't really been going in spaces like that a lot because a lot of the fan base dislikes me because about some of my takes about Mike Norvell and the fan and how FSU is doing stuff and things like that. So I kind of stay out of that type of stuff, and for the most part, I will leave all this stuff to the podcast so that way I can better explain myself than
Right.
going back and forth and saying contentious. But it was like hilarious though, man. We was in there, people was just all bad and everything because you know
Yeah.
I think it's hard for us to conceptualize with most fans. I think we want to block out the fact that we only won 2 games last year because it's
Hmm.
hard to really believe that we only won two games last year. And that's
Right.
right. Like if you said coming off a 6-6 season, a 7-5 season, that would be kind of crazy. But you'd be like, man, we just gotta get some things. We watched 6 wins, but last year,
Yeah.
we watched 2 wins, and I can't. Like even when people make the excuses for Mike Norvell and the staff, it's hard for me to conceptualize how can you only win 2 college football games at Florida State. Like really
Yeah.
difficult. So when I hear people
Yeah.
make excuses for it, I get pissed off about it. I'm like, why? What are we even talking about?
Yeah. I mean, because you think about it, we've had way less talented teams than when we had last year
Right,
that won way more games than that.
right.
You know,
And
I mean, some of them won 7 and 8 games. You know, sometimes
right.
under those last years of Bobby Bowden when our teams were like starting to flutter a little bit. Even those teams made
Hmm.
bowl games and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
But
yeah, that was yeah.
I think it's because college football, in my opinion, I think a lot of these coaches are really good at what they do, far as evaluating guys, developing talent, putting rosters together. I think in college football now, in football in general, I know I was telling somebody this about the draft. Like, we don't get a lot of draft bust anymore. Like, people be calling people draft bust that have like 800 yards of receiving. I'm like,
Right.
that's not really a bust. Like,
No, it's not a
that's just a
bust. No.
guy that might have had a in his first year. That's not bad. If he do 800, 900 yards every single year, he still wouldn't be a draft bust, right? Because he contributed
No.
to winning, right?
No.
But people, because like I guess because I'm older, I remember real draft busts. I'm talking about guys that would get drafted and they would never even get on the field. Like people, they like the coaches couldn't even put them on the field. And
Right.
I think in college football nowadays, everybody has a system. Everybody plays and scouts to that system. So it's hard to believe that you can actually only win 2 games in college football. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, because even bad teams win 5, 6, depending
Right.
on injury
Exactly.
luck.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of the fan base is still pissed off, and I think they really pissed off at Mike, but it's kind of hard to be pissed off somebody that's going to be there. There's going to be no resolution with the coach, the head coach, because I mean the money and everything. So people just kind of take it out on the fans. Yeah,
Yeah.
fans and the media, right? Like we hate Kurt Herbstreit and hate
Oh
ESPN.
boy, don't even
You know
start
what I'm
about Kirk
saying?
Herbstreit. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a whole nother can of worms right there.
right. So it was but it was fun though. We was in spaces talking. It was hilarious this afternoon, man. I told myself I might come back and join some more of them, but after I did the Fire Mike Novell space, I kind of checked out of the game after that. I ain't really want it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. But I know we were gonna talk about recruiting efforts. You had a really big recruiting weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and actually 2 or 3 of the guys I actually liked it. To be honest with you, so man, you can go ahead
Mm-hmm.
and go on,
Yeah,
run down that list.
the one that stands out the most from the recent ones they got is the one they got Friday, or was that Friday or Thursday? Yeah, Thursday was
Mhm.
Brandon Bennett, the wide receiver from American Heritage. Of course, FSU has strong ties to American Heritage.
Right,
With Sertan coaching there. Actually, our cornerback Zay Thomas, been 25 class played there. He was been his teammate. So
right,
the thing I like about this kid is that the the numbers aren't gaudy, but he's averaged over 21 yards per reception each year the last 2 years.
right,
So he has 479 yards uh, and 509 the last 2 years, but he's done it on 21 and 24 receptions.
right,
So he's obviously really really good with the ball in his hands. Plus he has track speed. He runs track too, so he's definitely an intriguing guy. I know he was projected to us. I'm kind of iffy on the projection sometimes because I've seen some and then it don't always turn out that way. But
right.
this one actually came to fruition because it was last Monday when they predicted him to come here, and then he ended up signing. So he's definitely one of the guys that he landed in 26. That I'm probably the most excited about.
Right.
I don't know if you know a whole lot about his game, if you heard a lot about him, but do you have any thoughts on him? Like, have
No, I
you?
haven't even looked at his tape or anything like that. To be honest with you, I thought he was a good. I haven't looked at his tape, but size, high school pedigree, I I pretty much like
Yeah.
the tape. I'm a like, yeah. If you get somebody from American Heritage, I'm gonna like the tape. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
ain't gonna. That's
Yes.
a pretty big program. They do a lot of
Mm-hmm.
great things out there in American Heritage, so I'm not gonna really hate on that take. I think that's a decent take, to be honest with
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then obviously today they got another guy, James Carrington, um, the defensive lineman from California. It was crazy because he was on his visit this weekend, and then they had two predictions come out today. One from Zach, I think it's Blowstein. That's how you say his name.
you.
With 247, also Steve Whitfarm with on 3. They both projected him to land at Florida State this morning.
Right.
And then a couple hours later, he committed. So, and not only did he commit, but he shut down his recruitment too. And that part made me the happiest. You know what I'm saying? Like for a guy to commit here and immediately shut down recruiting. I mean, that's like music in my ears right there. Because Florida State lately, guys commit. It's always
Right.
like, yeah, he commit right now, but it's early in the year. You still got the season. You still got the when guys really start committing, finalizing them commit, like during the season. So I'm always worried about that. But the fact that he went ahead and shut it down makes me very happy. And he's very productive. I mean, 24 sacks over the last 2 years.
Right.
Um, and so I think he was a Max Preps sophomore All American, as a matter of fact.
Right.
So yeah, he's I mean, he looks to be really in with the program because he was just tweeting stuff, and he always talking about, I'm ready to be part of the role and all that. So he's already, Terrence Knighton's already got into him. He talking about the death row stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, I'm actually excited about both of them. I like his production. Um, in fact, they went all the way to Cali and got a guy surprised. I don't really always like them going out west too much, but
Right.
if you can snag a guy that's like him that's got high upside. Of course, he's gonna have to be developed and all that, but um, I was definitely glad they got him. Give him some hope. So I think when they got him, I think they moved up about 5 or 6 spots in the rankings as far
Right.
as a recruiting class. So that definitely helped. So because I think Florida State had dropped to the 30s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
for 26.
Mike does his best work. We in the 30s and the 40s. He found a way to get back to 17. So
Get back to 15. Yeah, so, yeah. He'll have this flurry
yeah.
over a couple of weeks, and we'll literally like be all the way, borderline top 10ish. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really hoping, man, that they gotten 3 guys over the last week, and I know only one of them is kind of like a blue chip guy, and I know this kid Carrington is kind of like a borderline blue chip guy.
Right.
I think ESPN or Rivals, one of them, they have him as a 4-star guy. But for me, it's just with him. Like I said, the thing was just the fact he shut down his recruitment. So that means he's really in. So he obviously believes in what we got going on. He trusts Terrence Knight, and so he'll be one of the ones that when they come in next year, I'll be putting a pin in and keeping an eye on. So,
Yeah, I think the Bennett kid, good take. We'll see about the Carrington kid. He seems a little undersized, especially if you're gonna be
yeah,
running
he is.
5. I would think
Yeah,
you
he's
want.
like 260, I think.
Yeah, but somebody said he had like a 8-inch wingspan. So I'm guessing he's long, but he's just
Okay.
short. So he could be. That could be something. I won't say it. I won't say it won't be something. It could be something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
So,
absolutely agree.
and they brought in the Jaden O'Neal kid, quarterback.
Yeah, again, yeah.
So
I
that's
think they're really locked in on him for 26. I think they're really locked in on trying to flip him, especially once Duckworth
mhm,
got his down to South Carolina and Auburn.
right.
I think the shift um, really went to O'Neal. They seem to really like him because he keeps coming back for visits, stuff like that. He's been on several in the last couple of months, if I'm not mistaken. So
Right.
it looks like he's probably their prize 2026 quarterback right now. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because they
They
seem to
gotta
have
get
they had a
they
lot
gotta
of
get
interaction
him.
with him.
They gotta get him, man. They need a quarterback in this class.
Yes.
They need somebody that can anchor the class. So I think getting the right type of quarterback could be a big deal, to be honest with you. So
hmm
we'll
hmm
see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see. Um, and I think the next thing we were going to talk about was, like what would a successful season look like? Um, how good do we think the I guess I want to phrase it as like what success will look like for FSU next year. And the season next year. What that kind of looks like. The final nine terms on success. Not saying anybody's gonna get fired. Just saying what if you say, okay, I feel like we moving in the right directions. This is looking pretty good. I feel pretty good about the future of the program.
Yeah. You want to go first or me?
Yeah, I can go first. I
Okay.
think it'll start with me. It's gonna start with that jewel of a running back they got. That 5 star. Well, he was like borderline 5 star they got from Georgia. If that dude's sitting at like 700 yards, 800 yards rushing, if Boggs looks like a player where he's got about 400 yards receiving and probably 4 or 5 touchdowns, and he's coming on, and I think you would need some other guys like Charles Lester from the other recruiting class to start making impacts on the roster. And I think you'll like to see a legit run game. Like I think you want the run game to get back to something that you can kind of it can become bankable again. So,
Mm-hmm.
so last year it wasn't bankable. So you have to lead with something. I think if they can have a run game lead with something. So I think it'll be 8 wins. I think 8 wins would do it for me. 8 wins. And I want to see this offense get up and down the field again. I don't care if
Yes.
that's running the ball or how they do it, but I do want to see them. I want to see a more potent offense in the ACC. I'll say that. And 8 wins is legit. I think beating either Miami or Florida, I don't care which one it is, you need to beat one of them, Miami or Florida,
Mm-hmm.
is ideal also. And just be in every game. Just be in every game, man. You know what I'm saying? Just be in every
Mm-hmm.
game and win 8 games.
Yeah.
You know? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I think personally.
And it's funny that you say that because I've always been stuck on that number 8.
Right.
Like it's something about 8-4 that sounds. Well, for one, it sounds realistic.
Right.
From coming off a 2-win season.
Hmm.
I mean, not saying that teams can't catch lightning in the bottle and you flip it all the way around, go on a run. I know it's happened before, but
Right.
history says that you're not gonna, go from 2-10 and you flip it around. Now you compete in the playoff, you a national championship contender. But I definitely want to see the development of this offensive line under Herb Hand,
Yeah.
because he's the coach that him and Sertan are probably the ones I have the most confidence in.
Right.
So, seeing him get these transfers and these guys, Mario Nash and Chaston Brown, the 4-star guys they got, seeing how they all, how that whole group develops. I mean, of course, those are transfers, 4 of them. Well, really, the starting lineup is probably gonna be all transfers, pretty much,
Right.
from what it's looking like. So, have him get those guys and get them developed, and also, I think that I want to see balance from them. I want to see explosion like you. I want to see a more explosive offense. I want to see them get up on teams instead of having to fight back so much like they did last year.
Right.
But I would love to see balance. I would love to see us be able to keep defenses on their heels. Like have the threat of Castellanos not only with his legs, because of course he can make plays with his legs, but the threat of him throwing, and also getting Roydell Williams and Osain Cromar, whatever combination or committee, however they want to do it. Like the running game has to establish something this year, but that won't
Yeah.
happen to the offensive line. So the main thing with me, that offensive line getting right, being able to get up on teams. As far as the defense goes, I think that's going to take a little longer.
Yeah.
But once you get past the Alabama game, I need them to establish who they are very quickly before they play Miami.
You
Now,
know, the
do
thing I was looking at with them on defense, I kept coming back. I was like, damn, they kind of low key kind of play some pretty good passing games. Because Clemson,
Clemson,
Bama,
yep,
Florida,
Florida,
NC State,
NC State, yeah,
and I think Carson Beck's going to be fine. So I think their offenses they throw the ball and score points a lot too. So that's like 4 or 5 pretty good offenses. I think you're gonna play. Well, Miami's kind of toss up because we don't know Beck. I think Beck's gonna be fine because I think that was the same injury that Brock Purdy had the year before. I think he had it. He got hurt in that playoff game against Philly.
against Philly,
And
yeah.
he came back and he was pretty much okay, especially early in the season. He was fine. I think towards the end of the season, they just kind of sat him because of arm fatigue. Um, so I think Miami's passing game is going because I mean they throw the ball pretty good. They threw it pretty good before they even got Cam Ward. They was
Before they
throwing it
got
pretty
Cam,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think they'd be pretty good throwing the football. So it's gonna be about they play some decent quarterbacks in the ACC this year. I mean, K's people talk about here a first round pick. I don't got to the place now with quarterbacks. I don't know what pick they going no more. I'm just like out of that
Yeah,
projection thing with
it's
quarterbacks. I don't know anymore.
Russian roulette with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I don't know anymore. So
Yeah, it's crazy that you brought the passing game because I was going to get to another point was the secondary
right.
because I think they're going to be relied on a little heavily earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm.
While this 3-3-5 comes together, they establish this line. Who's going to be the jack, and all
Yeah.
that stuff, and all that. I think that's going to take a little longer to come along. I have a little more trust in Malzahn and her and the offense to come out a little more on top of it.
Yeah.
So I think the cities and the corners, we need them all year, of course, but I think early they're gonna have to be in a position where teams are gonna be probably trying to throw the rock on us pretty good. So they're probably gonna get tested a lot. Like you said, it's some good quarterbacks in the ACC that will play this year.
Yeah.
So, but with Sertan and Cooper, um, uh, with the safeties, I have a lot of confidence that they're gonna be fine. But I just think that the front seven might take a little longer to come along than the back end.
Yeah. I'm concerned about the. I guess I'm more concerned about the back end than I am about the front seven. Well, I'm concerned about the defense altogether, to be honest with
Yeah, I'm
you.
gonna talk about defense more than offense for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about defense for sure. Um, I'm gonna answer that question from Jamal in a minute. I'm gonna put a star on that. I think that's a good question. Yeah, but other than that, man, I mean, we win 8 games, but I think the more important thing is you need the younger guys on the team that you can start looking at them and feel like they're bankable for the next
Yep.
year, right? Because if Castellanos is playing good, that's great. If Darnell Jackson's playing good, that's great and everything. But if you don't see guys, the younger guys
They're gonna be gone
around them,
next year.
yeah, they ain't gonna be gone. So if you don't see the young guys around them making plays, that'll be concerning because then you're gonna feel like, are we gonna have to worry about another drop off after this? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. That's
that'll
why
be
Boggs is gonna be key. Yeah.
yeah, like what I said, guys like Boggs, McCoy, was it McCoy, the wide receiver that they had? McCoy.
Yep.
I mean, that whole wide receiver unit to me,
Danzy, all them
yeah.
boys. Yeah.
I mean, you would have just like to see the wide receiver unit to take huge steps forward. And you would like to see, I mean, even if you see Cam Davis become a really good power back that doesn't lose yards and finds a way to get 3 to 4 yards every play. I mean, that to me, because he's never going to be special. I mean, I'm not trying to kill the kid. It's just, well, running backs, you see it pretty early. Like, it's not, running backs don't come out of nowhere, right? Like, you're going to see the
Right.
glimpses early and often with a good running back. I mean, so, but can he become a very much a serviceable starter, not a starter, a serviceable rotational guy? You know what I'm saying? So that way you could say, hey, man, we got a legit 1-2 punch in the backfield for the next 2 years. You know what I'm saying? That'd be,
Yeah.
that'd be big,
Yeah.
and you
I
can
mean,
recruit
yeah.
off of that. You can recruit off of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because if you get let's say Cam Davis and Cromar end up being the two guys that stand out this year.
Right.
So now you got back to back recruiting classes that you didn't
Right.
hit on at position 24 and 25.
Right.
So that might get some of these guys in 26 they're trying to get like the Derek Coopers and the Jay Lamars and all that to commit. So yeah, definitely. If Cam Davis finds it and he gets his foot on, oh, that's
Yeah.
music to my ears. For
Right.
sure.
Right. Yeah. And so I think those guys that'd be pretty big time stuff. And then, like I said, the defensive back room, I just feel like the defensive back room, I'm gonna answer this question. He said, since we play 5-gut pass thing, do you think Coach Pat has a legit DB room? I think they're young. I think they're
That's
very
it.
young.
They're just young. Yeah.
And they're learning a new scheme. So what does the communication look like early in the season with them? Like I said, I know when Tony White took over the defense of Nebraska, they played Colorado the first game. They gave up a lot of damn yards against Colorado throwing the football. Now, granted, that was
Mm-hmm.
Shador,
Yeah.
so maybe we take something from that. Don't take a lot from that because that was a pretty good, Colorado threw the ball on everybody when they had the chance
Right.
to. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but that's the only thing I'm concerned about, to be honest with you. That's the only thing I'm concerned about is early in the season. What does it look like? Because Alabama, Ryan Williams, and those guys, I think it's a chance they could throw for a lot of yards in that first game. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
and I think they're gonna get better as the season go on. Because you got Edwin Joseph. I think Edwin Joseph is a player. They did bring in a transfer, so he got a chance to be a decent player. So
Mm-hmm.
it won't be a complete disaster. I don't think.
Right.
I just think early in the season, fresh to that first game, we might feel
Mm-hmm.
like Tony White is the wrong guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I'm already ready for the first bad, half or so they have a
right,
defense to go on Twitter and see the tweets. You know they coming.
right,
So
right, right, right.
yeah, he'll, they'll definitely be coming for his head soon, for sure. And they'll probably start the first game against Bama. So but yeah,
But they got two real cupcakes after the Bama
hmm
game. That's why I say a
yeah,
lot of this stuff they gonna be able to get it fixed on the fly. It's gonna be about not getting embarrassed and finding if the offense can be where I think the offense can be, I think
hmm
I think they could weather the storm in the Bama game because I think they could possess the ball and hold the ball. I
hmm
just feel like Bama. I feel like the Bama game. I feel like they're gonna be really explosive because that coach has always been explosive everywhere he's been with throwing the ball. Last year he did
yeah,
it with running the football, which was kind
hmm
of different than what he's used to.
yep,
So it's just gonna be it's just gonna be a tough task because I kind of trust his ability to create offense. Yeah.
yeah.
So
And speaking of young guys, I think something's telling me that Kevin Wynn's going to be really important this year.
yeah.
Because I think he's going to play a lot early.
Hmm.
And with his size, he's like 6'2", 340. So he's already coming in with a grown man body already. Um, so I mean, ever since they got him, I always just had my eyes on him big time because when I watched, I seen the tape on him. I mean, it just seemed like he was just moving people every time the ball snapped. And he was very, very quick, very fast. He had nice hands for his size.
Right.
So I think he's going to get a lot of burn as a freshman, and I
Right.
think he's going to end up at some point being like somebody they really rely on. I think he's going to be in a rotation, of course, but I think at some point he's going to establish himself as like one of the main guys.
Yeah, he's
You know,
another guy that you want to see him coming on the last 6 or 7 games of the season. You want to see him
hmm
making plays in the backfield. So yeah, that's what
especially when
I'm
they play Clemson and NC State and Florida. That's when I need him to be his best.
right.
hmm Yeah, so he's definitely another one of the young ones. And I feel like Tyron Lee and Jesse Harrell. I think they're going to be in position to maybe play a little bit
Right.
this coming year because I mean outside of James Williams, I don't really know who you really look at as far as the edge that you can like bank. I mean I'm not really banking on him yet because I haven't seen him do it here. He did that in Nebraska.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think the two edges they got, Harold and Lee. I think they're gonna. I think it's gonna be quite a few guys from this 25 class that'll be important this year as freshmen.
Right.
So, I imagine thinking about writing something about like how they're gonna probably rely kind of heavy on some of these freshmen. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't always want that. You don't have.
Right.
You won't have to see where you're relying on freshmen a lot because that normally means you're not very good. Hence 2-10. But yeah, those are some more of the young guys I think are going to have to step up early because FSU's going to need them. So
One thing I will say, man, I want them to kind of shorten up the rotations though, man. Like, don't be just
yes,
playing a
please
whole
shorten rotations.
don't be just playing a
Yes,
whole bunch of people just to say you're playing a whole bunch of people, man.
mm,
Make sure these people can actually play when they get on the field. Like just they shouldn't be playing 8, 9 wide receivers unless they blowing the team out. Like it's the
Yeah,
second series. You shouldn't be having mass substitutions on the wide receiver and offensive line. Like it was insane the last 2 years with that stuff, man.
yeah. I mean,
So
I'm all for keeping guys fresh, but my God, man, at some point you got to play the best players.
well, my thing be you have to make people earn the reps, man. Like, you
Yes.
know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Practice gotta matter, man. You know what I'm saying? You can be better than
Absolutely.
that guy in practice to get on the field. We not
Hmm.
ain't no charity cases around here playing people. This ain't charity. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes.
Oh, I really
I
want to
agree.
cut that out though, for real.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
man. And also another kid I think that has a chance to play early too is a Zaya Thomas, the cornerback from American Heritage. Um.
oh yeah, he is from Mary Heritage. Okay, I thought you were talking about the
Hmm.
kid, Knox, the guy from that Charlton, right?
Yeah, Charlton. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel pretty good about him too.
Yeah, I feel good about both the corners they got
Yeah,
in a 25, man. So I mean, the thing about Florida State is, we of course we want them to be better recruiting. We want them to start getting those top 10 classes again.
hmm
But I will say they've gotten close enough to that top 10 where they've been able to get some guys that you know, like we said, hopefully the Cromars and the Heralds and Zay and all of them can start a foundation. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like they get a class where you got 4 or 5 guys you really hit on, and then hopefully 3 or 4, maybe 5 guys in the 26 class. But we need to start doing that now, and that's why I
right,
think this recruiting class is so big because the coaching turnover, they're getting guys that they want, guys that they recruit. Relationships from old schools, bringing guys over and stuff like that. So they're getting a lot of stuff that they want.
right,
So now we need them to develop, and we need them to be ready to play. So I'm hoping this 25 class can do that because they have some guys that have a chance. With Nash and Brown on the offensive line. I said the two edge guys. You got Bob receiver, Kevin Wynn.
yeah,
So they have there's a potential. You could get that with this class. So I'm just I just want them. If these young guys are going to play a lot, like you said, when we get to playing Clemson, NC State, Florida, I need to see you hitting that next gear.
right,
And hopefully we're in bowl contention and stuff like that. So,
right.
but yeah, man,
So I'm
we
gonna answer this last question, and then we can watch the NBA Finals. Uh, how do y'all think the Bama new quarterback will perform in game one? I have my doubts. If they can run the ball, it really won't matter though. I Bama gonna have a really good offensive line next year. Well, the year we playing them, they're gonna have a really good offensive line. That Caden Proctor kid, I think, is the top 60 draft pick. Um, they had somebody else on that line. They got a really good center that was on that line last year. That came back. A lot of that line comes back, and they was really good running the football. That line did, and I think some of the pass problems they had on that offense line was because Jalen Milroe is like really not that good as a pocket passer,
right.
understanding when to get rid of the football. And the coach, I just, I have faith that he's going to get his quarterbacks and wide receivers to make big plays. It's kind of been his calling card, man. I mean, Penix had great years under that guy. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, and nobody
Mm-hmm.
thought Michael Penix was special. You know,
No.
so
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
I think they're gonna be fine. What about you?
Um. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've always looked at that game. I think it's going to go one or two ways. It's going to be real competitive, or we're going to get smoked. So as far as the quarterback, I mean, it's the first game of the year, so there's always the possibility he could come out and lay a dud. Just that I don't think that's going to be the case with Bama. I think he's going to be well prepared and we're a coach. Bama quarterbacks they don't ever have guys that really tear it up yards wise, but they have really smart quarterbacks that don't turn the ball over. They make good decisions, and they always have such elite talent around them that makes them look a lot better than they really are. So,
Right.
um, you know,
And something
I
else I forgot about too. He actually got
mhm,
his offensive coordinator back. Because remember, the guy that he wanted to call the offense was coaching the Seattle
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks. He's OC for Seattle Seahawks. Now he's back with the board. So the board kind of got his whole staff, the staff that he wanted
Yeah.
on the offensive side back. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I say, it could be, it could go one or two ways, man.
Yeah. I mean, I would much rather him throw the ball a lot because that means that they can't run, which
Yeah,
means that we're probably got them in third and longer situations, and
right.
they're not controlling the time possession and stuff like that. So I would actually want him to throw more, because I definitely don't want a situation where they just run the ball down throats. Because I mean that's just I just don't. I think that offense is going to really have to be in gear coming out. I'm not gonna lie. If we win the kickoff, receive, please. Receive the kickoff. Like I don't want no deferring. I don't care. We at home. Get that ball and try to go down there and score because
Right.
I don't want Bama to. I don't want them to dominate us in the trenches, especially
Right.
our defensive line, because I think if that happens, then we're gonna be playing catch up. Because that means they're gonna be scoring a lot. They're gonna be testing the ball a lot. Our offense is gonna be on the sideline a lot. It's gonna be a long day. So
So this is
hopefully, oh, sorry about that.
go ahead.
Yeah, but so hopefully, they can somehow establish that line of scrimmage at least decently, to where we're not getting run over, and we can get them in some third and long, maybe get off the field and put our offense in position to put some points up. So
Something tells me they should be fine with that, to be honest with you. I think they'll hold up okay because I really do believe the defensive line, the starting unit, would be fine in the first quarter. I think as the game wears on, that could be a problem. So this is a good
yeah,
question. Sam, I'm sitting here with some Canes fans. He's saying Mike never had a chance in Florida recruiting. Do you think that's true? I do. I think once he put his staff together, I felt like he was never going to recruit to the level that he needed to recruit to be honest with you. And the main reason I believe that because I think recruiting in the South, you got to have a lot of experience doing it, and you get that experience over time, right? Like Jimbo recruited in the South before. Dabo was used to recruiting in the South. Now, Urban Meyer wasn't used to recruiting in the South, but he was from Ohio State, so he understood recruiting. He coached at Ohio
hmm
State and he coached at Notre Dame, so he was used to
right,
recruiting. So he surrounded himself with guys that could recruit the South. You got to remember that. He's like Charlie Strong was on his staff. That was a big deal. Charlie Strong was like a big deal recruiting back in those days. So a lot of times it's about if you feel like you're gonna be great at recruiting in certain areas, you got to kind of fill your staff up with guys that kind of get it. You know what I'm saying? I I think that was his biggest mistake was not hiring the recruiting guys that he needed around him that could at least teach them this is what it takes to recruit down here. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
So that
I,
was
you know,
that.
I I think he has a couple on staff. Like I said, I think
Certain gets
said
it.
yeah, Sertain gets it. He's
Yeah,
going to schools and all that stuff. And I think Gus and Herb Hand get it, but I need these other guys to get a little bit more on board. Um, but yeah, man, it's hard when you don't have the experience, like you said, and then on top of that, you don't have a staff fully, at least not in every spot that
yeah.
is it has a pedigree to recruit. So it's going to take some time. I know people are impatient because they want us to get back so fast, but it's going to take a little bit to establish that recruiting
But
juggernaut again. But
the
so
thing about it is it goes so fast. That's
right,
why you got to hire the experience because it goes so fast. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt like Mike Norvell was hired like just hired like 2 years ago, and it's
right,
like
and it's
it,
year 6,
yeah, and
something like that.
it takes nothing for it to slip away. Like you can be on the top as a program, and that shit can slip away in a year, or 2 years. It could just be gone if you're not recruiting, filling your program with the right type of people. You know what I'm saying? So Dabo's somebody that like I look at the way Dabo do things, I'm like, damn, the way he do things, it just makes sense when you talk about building a program. You look at the way James Franklin program is kind of built. Like it just makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. It makes sense why people can call them whatever they want to call these people, but they're they don't their drop off don't really drop off that far. Like they gonna beat the teams that they're better than. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So,
exactly.
so
Mm-hmm.
they don't really have these ebb and flows of performance. Like they don't really do this. They do this. They like do
Mm-hmm.
this, and they go up, and they kind you know what I'm saying? But they don't never really they don't up and then crash down to the they don't do that. They programs
Yeah,
don't do that. So
yeah,
and that's because they recruit the right type of people. They change coaches. I mean, they don't have coaching changes. It ain't like
yeah.
they
Mm-hmm.
kept the same coaches. They had different coaches come in and out of their programs, but
Right. Yeah.
they understand the type of coaches they need, the type of players they need, and they keep it competitive out there in certain spots, man. I think it's tough, man. Because I was telling somebody about this. I never felt like Mike Norvell was a good fit. I felt like if you throw him in like Arkansas, he might be everything Arkansas ever needed. He'll kind of go to Arkansas, win 9. He'll probably give you a 10-win season every 2 or 3 years, and Arkansas will probably be fine with that.
Yeah.
But at FSU is different because you're in a meat grinder of Miami, Florida. Then you got Clemson, Bama, Auburn, LSU, and everybody's
All
like
in the southeast. Yeah.
they're all attacking in the same areas over and over again. And what
Mm-hmm.
you get left with is players that none of them really want because they don't got all the players they wanted out of your state. You
Exactly.
know,
Exactly. Exactly.
so and they got deeper relationships than you do. Like Dabo got deep relationships from Tampa. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like he'll go in there and beat Florida out for players in Tampa. Dabo will. And
Exactly.
it's like, and
And
it's hard to beat Florida out for talent in Tampa.
in Tampa.
Florida.
Yeah.
It's tough, but Dabo can go down there and do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
man.
when Bama clicking right, or no, matter of fact, not Bama, but LSU, they can go down to Miami and
Because
get
they are killing it right now.
yeah, they
It
can
seems
go
like
down there and
it's
get
like every other day they're getting a
yeah.
new commitment. So
So,
yeah, man.
it's tough, man, because it don't get easier as the years go on. It gets harder and harder
Right.
and harder. That's why it's only one Nick Saban. That's
Yep.
why everybody can't do what Nick Saban did. I don't even put people in that type of air no more. I'm like, maybe it's time to back off the idea that you can get a guy and hope that he gonna compete for it. Like his worst seasons is losing a national championship.
Yeah.
That was Nick Saban's worst year. Sometimes was like losing in the first round of the Final Four or losing in that
Or
championship.
losing that championship. Yeah.
And people would be like, "Oh, I think he's falling off." Like,
And then
okay,
the next year, Bama went
just right back to that championship.
right back again.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I will say. But man, let's go ahead and wrap this up, man. And
Yeah, man.
good episode.
Oh,
We'll be back. We're gonna start doing these shows on Sunday. We supposed to do it this Sunday, but it was Father's Day, so I ain't really want to push it.
yeah.
But
Right.
all right, man. That's the show, man. I appreciate y'all
Appreciate y'all and go Notes.
all day.